Hello, hello, welcome back. Today it's all about designing, making stuff, and as we do a lot of that on our on this channel, I'm doing cursed magic items. Magic items. We've been making a lot of magic items, and we're going to make more magic items. And this has been really a lot of people have been wanting to get to this topic where we actually make magic items that players don't really want. That's really what it's all about, right? Can we get them something that they really have no interest in whatsoever? So the day has finally come. Today is the day that you can unleash your creative evil nature on the and see what you come up with, and we'll see if we can turn it into a magic item that's cursed. I'll put up a poll. Feel free to take part in the poll. I have already jotted down a lot of the ideas that have been chucked into chat already, so we've got stuff to work with, which is always good, and we'll go from there. But I suggest grabbing some food, some drink, make sure you're comfortable, have your ideas flowing, and we'll try to make them into something today. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about tabletop role-playing games and homebrewing, making your own stuff. We're not going to make magic books or magic candles or magic wands. We're going to make cursed magic items. The bane of any player playing a character in any tabletop role-playing game, but also some of the most interesting things that you could possibly put into your game, because there is a reason why the One Ring is so well known from Lord of the Rings, because it is a cursed magic item. It's also very powerful. But as you know, on this channel, I've been trying to focus very much on making very small effects for magic items so that they don't overwhelm your game. They don't wind up taking the focus away from the player characters. They don't take the focus away from monsters, and they don't undermine your adventure or the story you're trying to engage with your players. I totally get that. So we've been focusing more on doing that. It is a cold day. I have a hat on, but I can't deal with that because it's not very warm. So it's not snowing here, but it's cold enough that I don't want to get sick. And I did get a haircut, so I'm going beanie today, okay? So for those of you who are like, oh, why is he wearing a beanie? It's because my head is cold. It's as simple as that. So we're going to make a whole bunch of stuff. I have a document already prepared that we'll be working through, at least sort of. I will not be referring to anything from Dungeons & Dragons 5e in terms of cursed magic items, because there's really only one. There's only one. So there's no point even considering looking at that. Like if you only got one cursed magic item listed under cursed, well, I mean, I suppose you could say artifacts have elements of good stuff and bad stuff. So I guess if we add in artifacts, it would be different. But we're not looking at 5e necessarily. We'll make magic items that you can use for castles and crusades, because castles and crusades is got a monster and treasure box, so we can make stuff for that. And we can make something that will fit into your Shadow Dark game if you're playing Shadow Dark. We can make something that fits into your Pathfinder game if you're playing the second version or the first version or the remastered version. And of course, we can't forget what is now considered old stuff. Whoopsie daisies. We can't forget 5e, Dungeon Master Guide. So we're going to look at making as many things as we can. I usually aim for 20. We usually wind up with 15. That's all right. That's not the end of the world. We can manage. We'll get by. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck in a question to you, and you're going to feed me as many ideas, and I'm going to turn them into as many magic items as I possibly can. So hashtag, what are your cursed magic item ideas? And let's go with simple, common if you're playing 5e, low power. They don't have to be super low power, but yeah, we're not going to go for high powered stuff that you can put in the game and it won't really mess with somebody. So that's the question for today. Okay. Have you added a couple more? You have. Fred Huber. Fred Huber is a patron and a moderator, and he's filling up the chat because this is his wheel box, cursed magic items. To be fair, so is I make a lot of cursed magic items because they're more interesting, and because there aren't that many, I have to make them myself because somebody else is not making them. Okay, so that's part of the reason why I make so many. It's not because that's all I'm interested in, is because you can find lots of magic items around for any system. They're just not cursed magic items, are they? So there we go. There's our question. Let's go over to the chat. Is done. We'll come back to the chat. Let's get our screen ready and my Google document. I just need to move my face. I apologize, people. Windows updated again. And every time Windows updates, it throws a complete spanner in the works of what I'm trying to do. And so, of course, I have to check not only Windows is working properly, but also that the Logitech Brio app is working properly for my camera. And then OBS has probably been messed up as well. So I've got to check, make sure all that's working properly, which I'm hoping it is. I think it is. And then I've got to hope that it's all going to mesh and work with YouTube. But that being said, we're here. So let's get going. We're not going to call this a smoke box. We're going to, instead what we're going to do is, I'm going to take this first idea and I'm going to put this as the firebox. Firebox. This now, let's make it a black. Let's make it similar to something we had before. This small black box, if opened, produces not produces, if opened, ejects, let's say gouts of flame, setting the location on fire if flammable. Okay. We're going to say this is common. Do I want to say common? Do I feel like... I do generally feel like something like... what do you call it? What's the spell that you can ignite stuff things? I think it's Flaming Sphere in 5e. I think it's a fairly low-level spell, so like Flaming Sphere, you can roll it round and start burning stuff. And that's probably going to be, oh God, is it level 2 spell or level 1 spell? I think it's a level 2 spell. If it's a level 2 spell, we'd have to push this up just a smidge. Flaming Sphere is a level 2 spell. Okay, so uncommon. We set the location on fire. Uncommon. Cursed magic item. Now, we probably should make sure we label things as being cursed. Let's just go with cursed. There we go. Well, we can actually put this cursed black metal box. Okay, there we go. Make it easy for ourselves. Get all the information in there. All right, so there's our first thing. Right, so Fred Huber has presented a whole bunch of ideas. I'm going to go through them real quick, and then we'll pick out the ones that I feel like I can do right now and going to be easy for me to figure out how to do fast. Potion of healing and poison. 1d8 healing upon use, 1d8 poison 2 rounds later. That's a real dick move, but definitely a curse. I'm going to think about that a bit more. We've got M-Soft Shield. That's not a curse. It's a feature. Doesn't aid our armor class. So, all right. Okay, all right. So that's definitely some hampering. Any item, add a curse of gives the owner yellow spots all over. Maybe the positive effect of the item is worth it. Okay, so one of the things that you have to do with a cursed magic item is there there's no point having a cursed magic item if all it does is something that's bad. So even though this is a cursed item, you might want to set the location on fire. So opening it up and having fire flying everywhere, fine, no problems, happy with that. But maybe it's not going to be very helpful the first time you open it up. Like, that's not what I wanted. But once you know what it does, then you can potentially use it to your advantage. Or at least you know what, the gimmick of a cursed magic item is usually only going to work once. And then after that, they're either going to toss it away if they can, or they'll continue to use it, but only when they think there's a benefit to them, right? Setting and doing, let's just go with 1d6 damage. I suppose we could say fire damage. For 5e, it would be fire damage. For anything else, it really wouldn't matter. Okay, next. Pinocchio's purse. A coin purse that makes your nose grow when you lie. Okay, all right. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I feel like Pinocchio's purse needs to go in a different direction. And I've got an idea for it, but we'll come back to this. Yeah, come back to this. Right now, corrupted compass randomly points anywhere but north. I like this idea. I actually think this should be the first thing that we tackle. I really think that one is not bad at all. It's actually pretty easy to do. Direction in games often never comes up, so it's not how useful will it wind up being, or how much of a hamper will it really be? It may not even come up at all, right? Box of kittens. Now, we've had a box of kittens before that are really rust monsters and magic devourers. Okay, so if we're going to have a box of kittens, it's not kittens, it's rust monsters. Or just a box of monsters. Rust monsters. Okay, I like this idea more. We're going to go and take this and put, this is probably the next thing that I'll deal with, so I'll cut that and we'll work with that next. Does it need to be a box? Could it be a bag? Could it be a chest? Let's make it a chest of rust monsters. Okay, right, next. The best cursed items have features that make the players consider keeping the curse. That's exactly the point that I was just saying before. You're right. That's exactly what we need to try to do. So there needs to be a good reason to have it. All right, next. Dribble glass. But whatever is in the glass becomes acid as it dribbles. I am completely lost as to what the heck is going on there. So we'll leave that for now. Okay, let's deal with the corrupted compass. And I feel like this is a wondrous item. It is probably going to wind up being common. Paste. This small silver compass points in random directions rather than what is it, the north, not the North Pole, rather than mag magnetic north. Now, you might be thinking that has only got a disadvantage, but what would happen if you were to give your enemy a compass that doesn't tell you the right direction and they're trying to get out of a location? So this is the sort of thing you would want to give to somebody else, right? To mess with them. Players like to mess with somebody else, so there might be somebody you want to get rid of, and they're going to get lost very, very easily with a corrupted compass. But it will also throw the players off if they're trying to use it to get somewhere. The joke will only really last once. Like if they get the joke the first time at all, I think it's really a one use on the player characters, and then after that the player characters are either going to toss it away or try to give it to somebody else to mess with them. And I'm fine with them doing that. That's all right. All right, now, if we call it rust monsters, let's just call it corroding. Corroding monsters. Let's do that. Let's take this down. You'll notice so far that most of these items are very, very simple, like one line. I'm trying really hard to keep everything down to the minimal word count, if possible. We are essentially summoning something. We're summoning a monster. And there are spells in 5e that are around summoning, but how often can you summon something like a rust monster? I don't know that it's not like a common thing. I don't feel like it's going to be. It feels like it's a little bit higher than like something like common. I feel like we're going to be heading into a different area. For those of you who are wondering why I'm not using D&D Beyond, it is because I don't have access to everything on D&D Beyond anymore. Those days are gone. So I'm not using D&D Beyond as a tool to show you stuff and compare stuff, which you might have noticed yesterday when I was doing the Umberhog, because I wasn't using D&D Beyond to present it. Okay. All right. So summon. It's either summon or summon or conjure. I think it's conjure, because I don't think they used the word summon until later on, so it'll be under conjure, wouldn't it? So if we wanted to conjure something, we can get, what would it be? Conjure barrage, conjure animals, let's beasts, that's not elementals, celestials, it's not really an elemental, fae, minor elementals, conjure wood and other plane, contact other plane, conjure. So okay, so we just need to get into the right space for this. I feel like we're heading into something like maybe a level 4 spell, minor elementals. Well, what is it? It's a rust monster. Rust monsters aren't that high a level in terms of a monster. They are, they challenge rating 1 or something like that. I can't remember. I need to do a lot more work around D&D 5e and 2024, just because I'm kind of losing. Right, it's a half, so it's really nothing. It's okay. All right, so let's consider this like a level 4 monster or spell, like conjure minor elementals would be kind of in line with that. So level 4, I believe level 4 is, what would it be? Would it be rare? I think it's rare. Yes, this is going to be a rare item. It's not going to be, it could potentially mess with things a lot. Okay, so we'll take that. Paste. This wooden chest. If opened, contains. Now, how many should we stick in here? We're making it rare. I feel like rust monsters only work in herds. They really aren't very effective if you don't have too many of them. Every time I've ever come across the rust monster, they tend to get obliterated fairly quickly. So this needs to be a fairly sizable number. This wooden chest, if open, contains 1d10. No, let's make it a 12. So, whoops, not a 16. So that's an average of 6. You could go up to 12. That's a herd. There we go. This wooden chest, if open, contains 1d12 rust monsters. Monsters that try to eat anything that is made of metal. And I think we have got what we needed here. Do I need to use a different word? This wooden chest, if opened, contains da 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 da. Right, just get rid of that's sarcasm, so we didn't need to we'll just get rid of the sarcasm. Plenty of sarcasm in my bones, as it is. Opened, if opened, contains da da da. I think that's pretty close to where we needed to be. If I have a look, I don't know, is the rust monster under Creative Commons now? It might be. Might not be too. No. Oh no. It looks like it might well be. Is Rust Monster SRD? Is it? Rust Monster. Oh, D20 SRD. Oh, okay. Hard to know. Okay, so I think it is under the 3.5 hypertext. Yeah, so it's under the 3.5. Okay, but is it under the 5e? I think they may have removed it from the 5e one though. Because remember, with the SRDs, you can only use one. But if it's under Creative Commons, SRD, Creative Commons. Let's have a look. Blah, 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 blah. Khan, Armadillo, Rust Monster. I think it is under Creative Commons. I cannot remember. Anyway, we'll leave it for now. I can always adjust it if it's wrong. Chest of Rust Monsters. Okay. So that's that one. Okay, so next we need to work with something else. I think the purse is the next thing I can get my head around. So I'll move that up and go cut, and then put this here. And I think the other one that I can probably deal with, might even be easier actually, is this one. No, because I don't know what to... It says any item, and I don't want to make it any item. It needs to be a specific item. So let's just stay with Pinocchio's purse. I guess the problem with Pinocchio's purse is... Yeah, it's... The way that it's designed, I'm just trying to figure out how best to sort of structure it. I'm not quite sure how to do that. Okay, let's go back to chat and see what people have to say. Drink some water. A lozenge. We're going into New Zealand winter, so it's only a matter of time before I start sounding like Kermit the Frog. For those of you who have followed me long enough, you know this happens every year. Okay, oh, here we go. We've got some more ideas. knotty shoes. The laces will tie themselves together randomly. I actually like that idea a lot, Fred Hoover. That's not bad. That's pretty cool. The problem is getting the players to put the shoes on. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you convince them that they should put the shoes on in the first place? There has to be something that draws them to it. Otherwise, they won't do it. Set Windows to metered connection in your internet connection properties, and you have to give it permission to update. So Fred Huber, I know you've mentioned this before. The problem is that what happens is when Windows updates and has an update going, a lot of the software that I'm using knows that Windows, so obviously Microsoft tells other people who create software that interacts with their Windows that there's going to be an update. And so what I'll do is, if I don't update Windows, I'll go to Logitech Brio's app and it won't work because it's waiting for an update. And so you go to press to update, but it won't update until Windows is updated. So you have to update Windows, then to be able to actually use the Logitech Brio app and update that. And the same happens with OBS. So OBS, it has the same sort of problem. You go, oh, there's an update. So if I don't run the update, it's like nothing works properly. So this is why I just have to do it. Oh, Shy X, thank you. Rust Monster is in the 5.2.1 SRD. Okay, good to know. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The box of monsters needs to look like it's something that is not going to be a problem. Well, a wooden chest doesn't look like a problem. That looks like a desirable thing. But it is a problem. Yeah. Woodland, conjure woodland beings could have been another spell to base it off. I suppose that's true. Didn't need to necessarily be conjure minor elementals. See, let's have a quick look. Conjure. Woodland beings is it's still a level 4 spell, so it doesn't matter. I got the rarity right. We're all good. Hello, Nacho man. How are you? I really hope. So thank you, Beth, for being here, Shy X, by the way. Nacho, I hope that you're managing to keep everything together. I know that it's really stressful for you right now. Nacho is a patron, and I know he's under a lot of stress. So yeah, let's hang out and just goof off and make some cursed magic items that are probably just going to cause a whole lot of trouble for people. but anyway, let's keep going. So I've got a couple of ideas to work with, and we'll see how we go. I'm going to keep prompting you. I'm going to keep trying to work through those. I was expecting to get a huge raft of different ideas for cursed magic items. I thought I was going to get a torrent. I thought I was going to be absolutely piled underneath. You guys have been so eager to do this for so long. Anyway. Okay, knotty shoes. Knotty shoes. Let's see here. Let's go here. The problem is it's not just the fact that it's knotty shoes. The issue is the problem with knotty shoes is that if it's just, well, no, that's not true, because you could potentially give them to somebody else. So they need to have something that's enticing about them. That's what we need to have, something that entices you to wear them. Sorry, I just had an idea. Paste. This. Let's go with these. These golden dance shoes allow anyone who Where's them? Where's them? Who wears them to wears them to gain the skills of a professional dancer. There'll be players who will figure out a way of making that useful to them. I haven't said you get advantage on dancing or anything like that. I've just said you get the skills of a professional dancer. Okay? Then how it unfolds is up to the players and the dungeon master. But then let's tie in Fred Huber's little cursed aspects to it. The laces will tie themselves together randomly while they are worn, and while they are worn. It doesn't need to be during dancing, could be any time. Let's just do that. And we've left it very open. The laces will tie themselves together randomly when they are worn. I think that's it. I think that's probably enough. There's a lot of tomfoolery that could have possibly occur with this. Do I want this one to be a... No. You'll notice I haven't put must have attunement to be able to use it for a lot of these things. Setting the location on fire, flammable. I guess this one here needs to have a little bit more going on. Setting the location on fire. And creatures within 5 feet on fire, flammable, and doing whatever. Okay, there we go. Right, back to where we were. Pinocchio's purse. I still haven't figured out how I want to structure this. I'm not sure I want it to do that. Potion of healing. Oh. No, I think I've already made that magic item before. So I don't think we need to do it again. We need to have something that is odd. We've got yellow spots all over. I really like this idea. It's just how to go about doing it. It needs to be something that will stand out. Something that's a bit different. Paste. Let's go here with spotted banana. It's a piece of fruit. Spotted banana. Okay, here we go. So let's take this idea. And go this. Here we go. Here, cursed. These cursed yellow bananas. Bananas. If eaten, cause the creature eating them to break out in yellow spots that disappear after 1 week. There we go. Let's put that in there. Let's put that there. Cool. Make it common, bold. Okay, so we've got that one done. How am I doing for time? Okay, I'm still not too sure what I want to do with these dribble glass. I don't really like the way that it is. I don't know what to do with it really. I don't really like the idea of giving you healing and then poisoning you 2 rounds later. If we're going to poison you, let's just poison you. If we're going to have a... yeah, I'm not too sure about them. I need some more ideas from chat. If you're wondering why I'm having, I've been struggling for a while since after I got sick with COVID. My brain just doesn't work the same and it takes, I don't know, last time it took me 6 to 8 months to sort of fully recover. So let's just put it down to brain cells just disappeared. Literally. Naughty shoes. Naughty shoes, naughty shoes. Well, we could call them naughty shoes. I like that idea too, mate. That's not bad. Let's consider calling them naughty shoes. Naughty shoes, naughty. Naughty shoes. Okay. All right, so back to the ideas. Any curse can be added to a magic item that exists. You add of sneeze to the wand of magic missile, wand of magic missiles, and sneeze. Okay. Yep. I gave my player a cursed dragon blood pendant. Wisdom save on long rest. Good dream equals buff. Bad dream equals debuff. Can't take it off without remove curse. Sleeping chaos every night. Yeah. Look, I guess the only reason I wouldn't build that magic item, Nacho, is because it is tied directly to a saving throw. And, I mean, 5e uses saving throws, yes. 2024 uses saving throws, but not every game system is using a saving throw necessarily that same way. So it's a little bit hard for me to structure it. But let's consider the concept of arrest and how we might affect that. And I think we can take the idea of arrest and interfering with it and turn that into a magic item. Let's create a bedroll. Let's try a bedroll, because the bedroll is something that they're going to come across. Insomniac bedroll. Insomniac. That doesn't look like the word at all. Insomniac. Is it? No. It couldn't be. It doesn't look like a real word. That looks like Fred just made up a word. Insomniac. Oh. Insomnia. I want insomniac. Insomniac. Okay. Let's take that word and let's screw with the players a little bit with the rest. Paste. Bugger. Try again. Insomniac. Okay. Insomniac bedroll. And what we will do is we're actually messing with a fairly big aspect of any game. It doesn't matter what version of D&D you're playing or what tabletop role-playing game you're playing. I mean, resting usually has a huge effect. Like, it's really important. I don't think we can call this common. I think we need to call this uncommon. So let's go here, paste, and go bedroll, bold. Am I actually showing you what I'm doing? Yes, good. All right, so uncommon, this bedroll, if slept on, gives the creature using it a this bedroll if attempted, this bedroll if slept on disturbs the creature's rest, so they feel tired the next day and don't benefit from a rest. Okay, so now I think we've got that right. Could they potentially give this or use this on somebody else? Yes, they could. They don't necessarily have to use it themselves. It's not attunement. A lot of cursed magic items, I don't make attunement a part of it, just because it's another part of the gotcha the first time. So that could really mess with you. Insomniac bedroll. But here's the problem. Like, you eat a banana, you expect to get a benefit from it. You sleep on a bedroll, you're kind of expecting something good to happen, right? We've only got negative things going on here for a lot of them. The naughty shoes are good. And the chest of rust monsters, the lure is the fact that it's a wooden chest. They're going to think there's treasure in there. The compass, yeah, there's a little bit of work that needs to be done on all of these, frankly. Okay, so we've taken Nacho's idea, we've turned it into something else. There needs to be something that happens with this that is at least beneficial in some way. Because why would you use the bedroll if you know that it's magical? Because most of the time they're going to have a bedroll anyway. So you've got to figure out how to get them to do it. Like getting somebody to eat a banana, not a hard, not difficult. For them to find out that the shoes make them better at dancing, that's good, right? You don't give away the negative aspect of it. But a treasure chest is, it doesn't need to be magical for them to not try and open it. A compass, using a compass, it's made out of a small silver compass. Well, that in itself, that being made out of silver is going to be a draw factor. And then a box, opening a box, everybody wants to open a box. It's as simple as that. But this bedroll is a problem. And it needs to have something that you benefit from. Yeah, I'm still not too sure how to do this. I don't want to make a saving throw. I don't want to make a wisdom check. But there needs to be a benefit in some case. All right. Pinocchio's purse. I still haven't figured any of those out. I'm sort of lost on those. Okay. Back to chat. Let's see what you guys have cooked up. Okay. Pants of ants. I've heard this before. I'm sure we've dealt with that one before. Pants of ants. If you sit while wearing these pants, you get ants in the pants. Oh my god. Pants of ants. Yeah, but why are you going to put the pants on in the first place? Is it made of silk? Are they made out of gold? Are they worth money? It's a bit different when you have a wooden chest because there's a promise of treasure inside. It's a bit different when it's something that looks like it could be really useful, but I think that's a mistake. Pants of ants, nice alliteration, but I don't think it's going to work. Armor of ants, we could do armor of ants. So wearing a suit of armor could potentially be look like a potentially useful thing, right? So we'll take the concept. Oh God, I did it again. Paste. All right. But we've got to change it a little bit. Otherwise, there's no draw factor. Like why would you even go near it? So we have to give them something for the fact that they are losing something as well. Otherwise, this is the problem with magic items. Is you've either got to lure them into putting it on or using it, or you've got to give them something to, something else. So, now wearing plate armor is beneficial, but we need to have, how are we going to create a problem for them? Disadvantage. Disadvantage can be applied to any game, that's fine. Disadvantage on sneaking and stealth or dexterity checks? Who knows? This is a tricky one. It might be as simple as let's get rid of the idea of disadvantage and simply just make it that they can't, if they keep wearing the armor. That might be the way to go about it. Let's try this. Armor of ants. Now armor in any game is a big deal. It's frankly one of the more powerful things to give anybody in any game is armor. Whether it's 5e, 2024, anytime you give out armor that's magical, it's probably better than getting a magic weapon, right? So, and I've always been really reluctant to give out those sorts of magic items because they undermine the ability for anything to hit. Quite often the end result is nothing hits. As soon as you start stacking armor bonuses, the +1s and +2s and all the rest, it winds up being a complete and unholy mess. So I think what we do is we structure this as... how can we make this work? Armor, +1, +2. Well, let's make it +1. That means it's going to be rare. This is not going to be a low-level item. It's a bedroll, it's banana, that's shoes, that's a chest, that's corrupted compass, that's a box. This is armor, so it's different, so it's structured slightly different. And it would be rare. So let's go here, go copy and paste. So we list it as armor. And it's going to have to be rare. This plate. Now we need to have to. We're going to have to tie in attunement here. Requires attunement because it would be ridiculous to not. Requires attunement. Okay. I know in 5e they don't generally do that with armor, but it's just a terrible mistake. Okay, this plate armor, grants the wearer a +1 bonus to AC. Let's just do that. AC. Okay, that's that bit. We're not going to have different rarities or anything. I'm just going to make one type. Let's make it plate armor. While moving in the armor. Okay. So this. Let's go here cursed. While moving in the armor. While moving in the armor, ants crawl over the body of whoever is wearing it, and whoever is wearing it, resulting in all stealth hiding and sneaking dice rolls to be failed. Okay, all right, there we go. That is a cursed set of armor. Armor of ants. Whoever. So we've got a benefit and we have a consequence. It may not be a big enough curse or effect because most sets of armor seem to give you disadvantage or some sort of penalty when moving around to try and hide when you're making a dice roll. So this may not really be enough. But anyway, I've made it. There we go. It's there. There's one. Keep going. Let's see. Teleportation amulet. 10% chance it puts you in a volcano that is erupting. No, we're on the wrong track here. We've gone off into the ye yonder here a little bit. Okay, so how can we get ourselves back on track? I made a tool, didn't I? We made a tool a little while ago on creating negative effects for magic items. And if I use that table, we can probably solve a lot of these problems that we're having right now. And I don't have to rely on my defunct brain right now. Okay, let's see if we can do that. So negative 100 magic item negative traits. Perfect. Now we're talking. Alright, so now we can actually start doing some stuff with this. So this table that I've just pulled up is already on Patreon for paid members. So we'll use that. I think that's probably the smartest way. We'll deal with a lot of the other problems that we were having before. Yeah, getting more people to participate. Come on, people, chuck in your ideas. Look, I don't use every idea that Fred Huber suggests. Sometimes you just got to throw something out there. You never know what will stick. Anyway, let's have a look. The table might help a little bit. Just drive the process. Okay, so I'll show you what I've got in terms of this table, and we'll pick something along the lines that sort of sounds cool, because we need some more magic items that are cursed. Yep, and negative traits is probably going to help. Okay, here we go. This is on my Patreon, 100 magic item negative traits. And you can see it is complete, it is finished, it is there. And we're going to just go through until we find something that sort of sits out amongst everything else that we could do something with. Okay, first one, absorb life. The item transfers or absorbs the wearer or holder's life force. So removing hit points from a creature who's wearing it. The only way we can do that is it has to be something that they could put on that they feel like is going to give them a benefit. And absorbing life, what could you do that removes hit points but also gives them a benefit of some kind? That's the question. Like, how else can we do that? That's a tricky one, but it's an interesting one too. I feel like potentially a helmet might work. Let's put like a helmet of life absorption. Is that right? Absorption. I think that's right. Okay. So what can we do to make this sort of... Well, this is really a type of armor because it's a helmet, right? So it falls under... Helmets tend to... Oh no, they fall under wondrous items, do they? Oh, okay. Didn't really think that they did, but... we could easily give it a +1 bonus and it would pop it into... for a helmet, giving it a +1, that would be an uncommon rather than a common magic item, but we are removing hit points. So let's take that concept there. Go copy. And we need to make sure we write cursed, because it is cursed. Plonk that down there. This cursed helmet grants the wearer Do we want to make it a helmet or do we want to make it a crown? I think we should make it a crown. Okay, this cursed magic item grants the wearer a +1 bonus to their intelligence score. We can keep it common then. It's not falling into rare by pushing it up to a 2, which would essentially wind up happening. And now we need to take away some of his life. Now we probably also need to make sure we tie attunement to it, because you're giving them a permanent bonus. Permanent bonuses, attunement's always a smart thing to do, so let's do that. This cursed helmet grants the wearer a +1 bonus to their intelligence score. Okay, it's a small benefit, but it's still there. The creature wearing the crown also loses 1d6 hit points. So loses. There we go. So you're losing a few hit points and you're gaining a small benefit. So it's not immense in terms of its effect, but that's not too bad. I feel like that could work as a magic item. Let's try that again, shall we? That didn't work too badly, actually. That worked reasonably well. Better than I was hoping. All right, and what are we? We're up to an hour. Let's see what chat has to say, just in case I miss anything that you guys have to say. I'll keep making stuff from this table, by the way. I think that's going to work quite nicely. But if you guys have your own ideas, by all means, throw them forward. Pick magic item, add a curse from the list. Exactly. That's a whole point of that table. Survivalist shoes. I think we should call them survivalist boots, but anyway. Misty steps you 20 feet north if you take damage. Just what is 20 feet to the north? Good luck. Okay. I'm going to mark that down. I'm not sure how to I'm not sure how to do that without it just being a problem. Because again, we've got to make sure that we're creating stuff that people there's something that they would potentially like about it, whether it's to give it to somebody else so that they wind up using it rather than themselves, or that's something that they would like to have. That is our key thing. So life absorption, crown, intelligence. Actually, why not it's a crown, so you feel like with a somebody who wears a crown, you would probably feel like you're having a charisma score increased. So let's go charisma. Charisma score. And so we'll go with the charisma score, and then we reduce the hit points. Okay, that's better. All right. Next. And you've said survivalist shoes. We might be doing that, but let's have a look at this table and see what we can cook up. All right. Sorry, people. I'm just moving things around, trying to adjust stuff. And now, table addiction. The wearer being separated from the magic item causes pain. The problem with using addiction is we've got to have something that they would be addicted to. And then what sort of pain are we causing? So we'll leave that one for now. Age shifter. Every use of the item increases or decreases your age by X number of years. So let's take the concept of the age shifter. And let's do something else with it. It has to be something that sort of falls into the realm of I feel like becoming younger is not the big problem. Becoming older is probably the big problem. Age doesn't come into games quite often, particularly modern D&D or modern games, they don't really use age. Older versions of D&D, age was a problem, right? There were problems with getting older and older and older. It's hard to do that in a cursed magic item, but it potentially doesn't necessarily have to have a huge effect. We could age them by 1 year. Elderly. So what would be something that we could apply and make it the elderly? Shoes, boots. Boots of the elderly. Boots of the elderly. That's quite weird, isn't it? Let's find something that I don't think we need to go too far with this. Well, let's make it a small effect. Yeah, let's make it a small effect. Boots of the elderly. So what we'll do is we'll leave it as okay. These cursed boots allow you to walk, allow you to move across difficult terrain with no penalty. Or with no reduction in speed. Okay, so we'll do that. So that's, I feel like, moving it across difficult terrain is something that the elderly don't like to have. So these are boots that are set up so that allow you to move across terrain without having a problem. Not going to reduce your speed, but every time you're using them, we can make you older. How is that going to be? How is that going to work? All right, so every time the boots are used, 1 year is added to their age. I feel like we've just given out a walking frame for getting across a mountain, or going tramping. We're going to just keep aging you up, but you won't slow down, but you're going to still... It is definitely a... Yeah. We're going to go with an attunement requirement. Could wind up being quite amusing too, actually. All right, so that's that one. Back to our table, and let's have a look and see what else we can cook up. Age shifter, aggression. The magic item uses the wielder's aggression, so they lose control. We could do that with an axe. What happens if when you use the axe, you don't differentiate from friend from foe, and you just wind up attacking everybody? It's the worst. The berserker's axe. We could call it berserker's axe. That would be hilarious. Like, that's the last thing you want anybody to have is a berserker's axe. We could make that. Let's make that one, shall we? Whoops. Wrong place. Berserker's axe. So I need to go Berserker's Axe. That's right, Berserker's Axe. And so now we're going to give it a +1. Do we want to give it a +1 or do we want to give it a lot more? No, let's make it a +1 so it's uncommon. And because it's an axe or a weapon of a nature, it should be an interesting sort of... There should be an interesting situation that sort of arises from this. Because now, the thing is that like as soon as you give out something that gives you a bonus to attack and damage, which is nice and simple and easy to do, but it has the disadvantage of you're literally going to wind up attacking anybody. We are setting up a group dynamic of this is a problem, it needs to go, and I've seen these sorts of things cause issues at tables. I would be very, very careful about applying something like this. It's kind of like a no-brainer to do it, but it's probably going to cause a whole bunch of hassle. But we can do that. We can make that work. Let's go here. It's going to have the attunement. It's going to be uncommon. We'll make it a +1 bonus. And we go copy. Berserker's Axe. Paste. Common, requires attunement. This cursed... War Axe. Let's just say Axe. Grants. Gives the wielder a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls. The axe wielder doesn't no. Oh, it's diff. Differentiate friend from foe and is forced to attack the closest creature. Right. The X-Will doesn't differentiate friend from foe and is forced to attack the closest creature. Okay, so that's that one done. Okay, I think we got that one down. Survivalist shoes, misty steps to 20 feet north. If you take damage, that's what it is. 20 foot to the north. Good luck. Okay, all right. Let's keep going. Does anybody have anything else they would like to add here? Okay, what are we? Yeah, we've got to do some more stuff. What would be the next thing along here? Alarm. I think alarm could potentially be quite amusing. Imagine having something that makes a noise, warns all creatures of a specific type that you are nearby. That would be a pain. Really would. What about a alarm lantern? So what we would do is, I think for alarm, it's a very low level spell, but it's being used against you in many respects. So what we want to do is we want to sort of structure it so that you're getting the light and then the alarm goes off. All right, so let's go with wondrous item. Don't know if that I necessarily think attunement is the thing to go with, so we'll just remove that. But we can take that aspect, +1, yes. Go paste, and we'll get rid of the attunement, because you're probably not going to want this thing after. This cursed lantern never runs out of oil because it's magical, and that would be a really useful thing to have, right? Is a lantern that never runs out of oil. So we want to do this for sure. But there is a side effect to having a lantern that never runs out of oil. And that is, it is going to make a great huge sodding noise when anything is within a certain range. So let's go with, let's find lantern. I'm pretty sure there is a lantern in the gear. It'll probably set out sort of how it works. Problem is, every lantern has a different way of working. So whether it's 5e, Shadow Dark, Pathfinder. All right, that's all I need to say. Stop there, Fred. So don't spell out the distance. This cursed lantern never runs out. Of oil. Okay, first thing. If a hostile creature comes within 120 feet of the lantern, within 120 feet of the lantern, it makes a loud screaming sound. Okay, there we go. We have now created a lantern. It's got a benefit, but there is a problem with it as well. So next cursed magic item on the cards. Okay. I feel like we're getting better at doing this. Cursed. This. Cursed. Okay, this small. Small cursed. Okay, we got that. Curse. All right, so we're doing all right now. I feel like we're on the right road. Let's go check our chat, see what people have put in there. It'd be interesting to see if anybody's got some ideas. Whoa, we've got a bit of stuff there now. Yeah, curses are supposed to be a problem. 10 miles of difficult terrain. Starts as a 12-year-old and be 120 when they get to town. They might be dead by then. 120 might be a problem. Yeah. Mummy's... Oh, hello, Shyx. What have you got here, Shyx? Mummy's Orb. Eyeball-sized orb. While tuned, the user can split necromancy spells to target a second creature. Curse. After finishing a long rest, it attaches itself to an eye socket, empty or not. Okay. My general feeling is that might be... I really dislike. So I know this is a common thing in 5e and 2024 in modern D&D, and that is to have multiple attacks and now be able to cast multiple spells. But it's a fucking bad idea. Action economy is ruined when you wind up going beyond movement and action and maybe having a free action. As soon as you have minor actions, swift actions, bonus actions, 3 action economy, 4 action economy, it's great for a player who gets to do a whole lot of things. It sucks for all the other players because they've got to wait for you to do your stuff. And it sucks for a dungeon master whose monsters never keep up with you. And if they do, your combat just bloats. I would never make a magic item, if I can help it, that allows you to cast more than one spell or target a second creature with it. It's not something I would do. The second half of it I kind of like, but being able to split it and create 2 spells, it's too much. Spellcasters don't need any more help. They really don't. The idea of making a magic item that makes spellcasters even more powerful than they were before is folly. It's not something I would do, Shy X. But I like the second part. I just don't know how to tie it in so that it has something there that makes it worthwhile using. Targeting a second creature is too much. Casting 2 spells would be too much. Berserker Axe already exists, I think. Does it? Oh gosh, where? Does it? Oh, okay, let's have a look. Berserker Axe. I didn't think it did, but maybe it does. In addition, while you are attuned to this weapon, your hit point maximum increases by 1 for each level. So the Berserker Axe does exist, but its effect is completely different. I see. Well, we're just going to call it something else. I don't need to call it an axe. I can call it a sword. Berserkers. Now. Sword. There we go. Done. Thank you for letting me know. That has solved the problem. That was an easy fix. So, very happy about that. Next. What else did you have here? There has to be something with that name, but it wasn't a cursed item. Yeah, there may well be. So, the Berserker's Axe is now the Berserker's Sword. Done. Stone Tomb. Requires 15 strength or suffer strength penalty. Okay. Spell attacks take a rocky form, dealing bludgeoning damage instead. This is very 5e. Stone Tomb requires... Okay, suffer a speed penalty. Spell attacks take a rocky form. Okay, I am making a note of that. Stone Tomb. Okay, all right. How does the lantern determine hostile? Well, I think that's up to the game master. I think that's, hostile creatures are going to be determined by the... But I see what you're saying is like every monster, every creature that the players come across is not hostile until they have engaged with the characters. Like, it's just like it... But some monsters are already sort of determined. So I guess, yeah. Is there a way that I can make that work? I don't see an easy solution. I feel like this is going to have to come down to the dungeon master determining whether they were hostile to begin with. And if they weren't, then it's not going to go off, which is fine. But good question, Fred Huber. You do make a good point. Mouse is going to steal food from beside the fire camp. It's hostile. Yes, it is. Therefore, lantern will go off. Devilish studded leather armor. Comes with a horned helmet with a visor that cannot come off and a tiefling tail. Gains fire resistance. Dear, I think we could break that down into little bits actually, and it would be quite interesting. Okay, I'll take a note of that one. Mummy Orb, Shades of Vecna's Eye. It does have Shades of Vecna's Eye, absolutely. Spectral gloves. The gloves are always in the ethereal, taking a ghostly form. This one I like a lot. It's just, how do I mean, I guess it's more flavour than it is effect. It really sort of suggests that you wouldn't be able to pick anything up while you're wearing them. Frog suits. You always want to eat some bugs. Doubles your jump speed, jump distance. That is a really odd magic item, and I think we should make a frog suit. Let's make the frog suit. Paste. Okay, let's try and see if we can make a frog suit. Is anybody ever going to wear it? Jumping just doesn't come up in the game that much. It's such it doesn't. Yeah, it's not something like, oh, this is not like Donkey Kong or a video game where you jump around a lot. God, I hate jumping games. But even RPGs don't really have a lot of jumping involved in them either. So it's a little tricky, that one. Okay, let's see if we can make the frog suit, and then we'll just keep going. Keep going. We got a little bit more time. Oh, yeah, I got a little bit more time. Frog suit. We'll do that one. So I feel like we can make that common, and we'll go here. Go copy, paste. This cursed green suit allows you to double your jumping distance and height. While wearing the suit, you only eat bugs eat bugs. I only eat insects. Eat small insects. Okay, alright, so I'm going to require attunement for this. Wouldn't normally worry about that, but in this case I'm going to put attunement in there. Because really eating bugs or small insects is not a big deal in terms of a disadvantage. It's a really minor aspect to it completely. It really isn't a big deal, frankly. Whereas the benefit of being able to jump isn't that great either, but when it does come up, it would be a big deal, right? So we're going to put requirement of attunement on it, because really it's stacked more in favour of the benefit than it is the disadvantage. It's quite significantly. So frog suit. Okay, so we've got that one. We've got that one. Swords. So hang on, swords. It shouldn't be wondrous item. It should be listed as something else, shouldn't it? It should be listed as a weapon. I think it's listed as, they're usually listed as weapons. It won't be listed as sword. It'll be listed as weapon. I'm pretty sure. This is only for 5e. I mean, it's only the formatting for 5e, which, you know, if you're not using 5e, you won't give a toss about it at all. Totally get that. Makes sense to me. Wand, weapon, staff, sword. Staff, sword. Do we have swords? Sunblade, sword. Sword of answering, sword of lies. Yep, it's usually sword. So it'll be weapon. Weapon. Okay, we've done it. Next, spectral gloves. I feel like we could do something with this one. The problem, I think the problem is that how do you make it give yourself a benefit to it without the benefit being so great that the penalty that you would gain from having the benefit wouldn't outweigh that. And that is one of the biggest problems with cursed magic items. That delicate balance. It's all right for a magic item that's cursed to have a benefit that is smaller than the cursed effect. But when the benefit is greater than the cursed effect, you just don't worry about the cursed effect. And we don't want player characters, honestly, to hang on to cursed magic items. You really want them to either destroy them or get rid of them, or throw them away. They are one-trick pony. They always have been. And even though I have used a lot of them over the years, getting attached to them and having them run in your game for too long can be just a huge problem. So it's a bit hard to do that one. I am unsure what to do with that. I like some of these names. I just don't know what to do with them. Okay, alarm clock, an item. Let's go back to this table. Alarm clock, an item that wakes you up at ridiculous hours of the day, disrupting a rest. Now we've got something like that already. Okay, so we don't need that because we've already got the one, the insomniac bedroll. Animal nature. Item causes wild animals to want to be close to you. Yeah, it's all right. Athlete's foot makes your feet sweat profusely and the skin peels. Oh, God. Attracts attacks. Attracts all attacks towards the holder of the item. Okay. Backfire. The magic item's effect targets the wielder only. Backfire. A backfire wand would be an interesting idea. The problem is, I think, with a backfire wand, is that there would have to be, I feel like if it works every single time, because magic is so powerful, you could potentially wind up blowing up the entire party. And, you know, if one person's got the cursed magic item, it's all right if they wind up getting, you know, bashed to bits or blown up. But you don't want a cursed magic item to necessarily blow the entire party up. And that's potentially what will happen if we start targeting the wielder with this. Even if it's on a roll of a dice, there's going to be a time when they're going to roll a dice and Fireball will, because wizards will wind up picking this up more than likely. They'll cast Fireball, they'll target themselves, and the whole party will get scorched by a Fireball at the absolute wrong time. So, yeah. It would have to be, yeah, I don't know that that's going to be very easy to do with a wand. It would have to be something else. I don't know that that's... Yeah, I'll think about that a bit more. Next. Bad connection. The magic of the item is very spotty and occasionally doesn't work. Yeah, so we're now rolling the dice to determine, I guess, when it works and when it doesn't, if it's going to be spotty. Bendable. Your bones and body become rubbery and bendable. It's not really that big a deal, if you ask me. Bigfoot. Magic item makes the holders grow taller and extremely hairy. All right, so, but what would do that? Blind. The wearer or holder of this item is blind. I don't know that there's anything that sort of stands out. Mummy's orb. Okay. Blistering skin. Your skin keeps blistering till you see a healer. Bloodlust. The magic item must be used to kill a humanoid daily or it ages the wielder. We've already got something that kind of is sort of got a bloodlust to it. That's really the berserker sword, right? Broadcast thoughts. The wearer of the item can sense the surface thoughts of nearby creatures and broadcast them to everybody nearby. And push them to everyone nearby. I don't know that that's that much of a negative, actually. It feels more like a positive. Okay, cannibal. The item forces you to eat only your own species for sustenance. Oh, God. All right. So we've definitely... What would you attach that to? Cannibal. I mean, I'm not against the idea as a negative, but what would you attach it to? It would have to be something that makes sense. And I don't know that there's anything that kind of... Gloves? Or... No, they don't really fit. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Compliment. The item offers compliments to your enemy when they hit you. It's really, really weird. We could do this though, actually. It is a strange idea. And maybe we should do this. Let's make this item. I have an idea. Let's just create it. Paste. Spectral terminal. I'm still hoping we're going to get something that'll sort of fit with that. But anyway, get rid of that. Complementing club. Okay. All right. So we'll do that. Let's go here and go. It's a weapon. It's not uncommon. We're gonna paste, and we'll make it common. We can make common magic items. It's possible. This cursed club. This cursed club grants no extra benefits other than it is does magical damage. That's a benefit. And then let's do this. The club offers compliments to your enemy when they hit you. It's not really a huge factor. I mean, is it really going to be... It's leaning into the narrative and the roleplay aspect, but I suspect that the second sentence will probably get forgotten only for the first part, which is it does magical damage, even though I don't get a +1 to attack or damage. It is just doing magical damage. It's going to kind of get lost a little bit. I think I've got an idea here. The club offers compliments to your enemy when they hit you. Compliments to your enemy when they hit you. And grants advantage on the enemy's next attack roll. That's probably a little bit better. I think that's a little bit better. That's probably going to fit more into it's a cursed magic item, and it could be a problem. Could be entertaining. It won't come up too much, hopefully. But yeah, still. Anyway, wear beast cloak. During the day, it's normal leather. During full moon, it's furry. Oh dear. I'm going to figure out what to do with some of these. Some of these are quite entertaining. It's a bit hard to... Anyway, let's keep going. What else you got here? Shy X has got here, messenger bird. You can deliver messengers with it. Has a 50% chance to deliver to the wrong person. That is my favourite one, Shy X. And the bird just flies off or delivers it to the wrong person. This is very Harry Potter. It's very Harry Potter. Maybe the Were Beast cloak can have the cannibal curse. Yeah, okay, that's not a dumb idea at all. That's actually kind of smart, because it feels like it would fit, wouldn't it? It does sort of have that feel to it. Paste. All right, so yeah, I'll have a think about more about that. But yeah, no, that's not a bad idea at all. I like that. That's quite good. Okay, so let's review what we've done, because I'm going to run out of time. Oh, it is. I'm already starting to get a little bit late, and I don't need to be late to work. Last day of the week for me in terms of my work day. So let's make sure I'm actually there on time. Let's show you what we have. So this is what we've got. We've got the firebox, which basically spews out fire, 1d6 fire damage everywhere. The corrupted compass, which just points in random directions. The chest of rust monsters, which if you open releases 1d12 rust monsters. Naughty shoes, which allows you to dance better, but randomly they tie themselves together, so you could wind up falling over. Spotted banana. This cursed banana, basically if you eat it, you break out in yellow spots that disappear after 1 week. Insomniac bedroll, basically it disturbs your rest, so you feel tired the next day and you don't benefit from the rest. Armor of ants gives you a +1 bonus to armor class. But while you're wearing it, you will just fail all stealth, hiding, and sneak dice rolls, which you probably were going to fail anyway. So it may not mean it may wind up being just more of a benefit than a loss. But we'll keep going. Crown of life absorption. So we wear this. No, it says helmet. I should say crown, shouldn't I? This cursed crown. Crown grants the wearer a +1 bonus to charisma score, and the wearer also loses 1d6 hit points. So here's a trade-off. Boots of the elderly. So this cursed boots allow you to move across difficult terrain with no reduction in speed, but every time the boots are used, 1 year is added to your age. Berserker's sword, basically a +1 bonus to attack and damage, but you will just attack friend or foe randomly, whoever's closest. The alarm lantern, which never runs out of oil, but any hostile creatures within 120 feet, it makes a loud screaming sound. Or noise. The frog suit doubles your jump distance, height and distance, but while you're eating it, you just eat insects, small insects. It's not a big deal. The complementing club, it's cursed, so it grants you magical damage, no +1 or plus +1 to attack or damage, but just it's magical damage. But the club offers compliments to the enemy when you are hit and grants advantage on the enemy's next attack roll. So yeah, the more you get hit, the more potentially you will continue to get hit. And then the messenger bird, which I haven't written up, but yeah, there's a few there that could be worked on, and it would be quite fun to see how they sort of come out. Interesting, very, very interesting. It's been a process. We've got a lot of ideas there. I don't know exactly how many we created. I would imagine it's the usual 15 or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we almost got to 15. Not quite, but I feel like there's 2 more that we'll flesh out later on anyway. Yeah. So yes, we got through that today. I am going to come back to making stuff. So you know that today is the day. This is the day that I do design. Like this is the day that I sit down and I design. I mean, yesterday's monster workshop. So we deal with monsters, whether it's for 5e, 2024, Shadow Dark. Those are the things that I kind of really know right now. There might be other things that I work on in the future. We'll see. I have to get... you have to play a game and know the system well enough to be able to build stuff for it. Those are the things I can deal with right now. Okay. Right now I'm doing Shadow Dark monsters. That's yesterday, right? So I'm going to keep that going. Today is I deal with other stuff. And we've been doing mostly 5e and 2024 fixing stuff, and I still want to keep fixing stuff and making stuff for Shadow Dark or just system agnostic material. I'm going to start moving away from doing magic items for a while, and we're going to focus more on we'll make an adventure eventually, probably I think it's a couple of weeks. We're doing one at the end of the month. We'll make an adventure during this time, and I want to work on the races, species for Dungeons and Dragons 2024 or 5e. I want to work on them because I feel like I've got a better grasp of how to solve that issue now that the custom backgrounds are sorted out. And I was going to start doing 5e or 2024 classes and remaking the core classes for that game system for 5e and for 2024, because I feel like they just don't work. They're not really what they need to be. But what I've discovered is that I don't have all the missing pieces to the puzzle yet. I'm getting closer. I've realized that the idea with Dungeons and Dragons 5e, whether it's the new version or the old version, that removing the ability score increase is a mistake. That should still be there. You keep that aspect of it. But things like subclasses, at certain levels you get a subclass for 5e or 2024. That should be replaced with, if I want to change something out, don't use subclasses. Change it out with a feat. That's where you should be able to put a slot in a feat. So that's where my head has been at with regard to that kind of design factor. And then I realized I'm still not ready to do that because it takes 10 hours to redesign a complete class for modern D&D. It's really, really involved. There are 20 levels. It's complicated as hell, and it would take too many live streams to get it done, or like my entire day. And I don't want to do that anymore. It's just not. I'm not ready to commit to that, and I don't think I have all the answers to the problem with the druid, the paladin, the warlock. I'm not quite there, and the bard. So I haven't solved all those problems that I think need to be solved for 5e or 2024. So what I thought I would do is, I don't want to do a review on Shadow Dark. What I want to do is I want to talk about my experience running and playing the game for about 6 months. Roughly, 5 to 6 months, something like that. And I didn't want to review it because I don't think that's hugely useful to you. There's lots of reviews. And honestly, whether I flip through it and talk about it, I don't find that very helpful. I find that most people it's just opinion. Whereas I would be better to talk from experience with my experience running that game. And I thought I would do that next week. And then we'll roll into breaking down a lot of the modern D&D stuff. I want to do some more ancestries for Shadow Dark at some point, but that's probably a little while off. And I still want to do some more backgrounds for Shadow Dark, but that's a little while off. So we're probably looking at me talking about Shadow Dark next week, followed by let's do an adventure, and then followed by me doing a lot of 5e stuff or 2024. So that is where my head is at. You guys will figure out which one you like or what you want to see more, and show up for the stuff that's useful to you, and don't show up for the stuff that isn't useful to you. Totally get it. It's perfectly fine with me. Anyway, that's my plan. I need to get going. So do you. And a huge thank you to everybody who's watching and listening. I want to thank everybody who has been commenting in the chat. So Shy X, Fred Huber, Nacho, really do appreciate putting your ideas forward. I've taken some of those ideas, some of them I put aside, but that's all right. If you took part in the poll, thank you for the 8 people who did. Do you make cursed magic items, or do you want to make cursed magic items for your tabletop role-playing games? 75% said yes, undecided 12%, just watching 12%, nobody said no. You wouldn't show up for a cursed magic item live stream if you were saying no anyway, I'd imagine. If you're a patron, thank you for supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the stuff up onto Patreon at the end of the week for the paid tier. I really do appreciate it for those of you who have been supporting me through Patreon. It's getting rougher and rougher, and you're going to see more and more of us YouTubers disappearing and becoming really hobby channels with very intermittent videos. It's just the reality of life on YouTube now. There's so many of us. Anyway, that being said, wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, or the night, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. Expect more interesting and unusual stuff on my channel. I will continue to make stuff that you can use. And it's going to be an interesting next half of the year. It really is. So, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.